Hello everyone, and welcome to my video on sketching the graphs of sine and cosine with horizontal translations. Now, if you're following along on the Cambridge textbook, that's not quite the title, but there are so many characters and Greek letters that it just wasn't going to worth reading up. So we're really dealing with horizontal translations. My name's Darren from Maffs Guru. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully this video is going to be amazing. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to know how to read and translate graphs of sine and cosine parallel to the x-axis. And remember that DRT applies to transformations of sine and cosine curves. Now, this carries on from a video I have just recorded, which I actually do think is pretty good myself and can be found on maffsguru.com, my little corner of the interweb. So probably a good idea to go and have a look at that video first, because this will very much build on the understanding from that. Now, in that past video, I looked very much at the idea of sort of what we can do for basic sine and cosine curves. I looked at what a basic sine curve looks like, what a basic cosine curve looks like, and the idea of that we can effectively transform this by dilating away from the x-axis, away from the y-axis, and what that really does to the important parts of the sine and cosine curve, which is effectively the amplitude and the period. Now, all of that language is massively, massively important. And hopefully you've now realized, particularly here if you're doing the methods 1 and 2 course, that methods 3 and 4 is going to do this on an illegal narcotic. And I will, no. Drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. But the point of it is, we're teaching you this now as the framework for what happens next year. And you are going to get so many functions that look like the one I've just highlighted, and you're going to have to sketch it. And ultimately, if you remember, whenever you sketch a function or a graph, what have you got to do? Well, know the basic shape. You've got to know where the x-axis intercepts are, the y-axis intercepts, where any key turning points are. And much of the work we have been doing is pretty much the same, but with lots and lots of different functions. Okay, so that's the sort of the past learning, as you were. Now, as a recap, if you remember, the function, when it's written in this way, holds all the information you're actually going to need to be able to sketch this thing as accurately as you possibly can. So the number here in front of the sine or the cosine function is the amplitude, and that is the distance from the median point to the top or the median point to the bottom. All right, now, if you were to double the amplitude, you'd effectively get the distance from the minimum point to the maximum point of a sine and a cosine curve. But don't get confused. That is not the height from the bottom to the top. The amplitude is half the bottom to the top, or from the middle point. We then learned that this value here was effectively a dilation from the y-axis. Okay, so this was the dilation from the x-axis. That was a dilation from the y-axis. And it was counterintuitive. That doesn't actually double the period. It actually halves the period. And we came up with the idea that we could work out the period of our new function, or our sine curve or cosine curve, by doing 2 pi divided the value of n, where that is my value of m. Now, this video, we're going to look at what happens when we have values inside the brackets, because that is your horizontal translation. And it is very important, as I say a little bit later on, that we note here our domain. Because if you draw outside of that domain, or in fact you don't draw enough to fill that domain, then you're not going to get the question right. Okay, now, there are huge tricks here that I'm going to come to in just a moment, but anything inside this bracket here, that there is a horizontal translation. Now, we've dealt with quadratics before, and we know again that if it seems to be inside this part of my function, it is counterintuitive. So that minus pi on 4 doesn't mean it's moving to the left. Try that one again. Doesn't mean it's moving to the right, it's moving to the left. I'm trying to reverse things in my head for this camera. Okay, so once we have that value there, that's awesome. Like, oh, okay, so this whole function is going to be translated pi on 4 to, in this situation, the positive direction of the x-axis, or right. Okay, now, the way they're going to try and trick you in a VCAA exam is by writing your function like this. Now, you're going to turn around and say, but hold on, that's exactly the same. It isn't, because if I now compare those two functions together, yes, my domain seems to be the same. Yes, this 3 in front seems to be the same, but look at the placement of the 2. That 2 there is inside that set of brackets. The 2 outside the set of brackets is actually what we want. Now, I tend to come around and say that for this to be able to work, you never want the value of t or x to have a coefficient other than 1.